Thanks for listening to English Go Podcast. If you'd like to listen without adverts, read episode transcripts, or listen to extra bonus episodes, please check the description for more details. You know, I am getting awfully close to the 300th episode. It's difficult to say. Episode number 300 of this podcast, which is amazing. How long have I been doing this for? I think it's over 3 years, actually. I've lost count. It's been a long time. And I hope that you've been enjoying it. Although I don't know if you've been listening for like 3 years, but if you have, wow, thank you very much. Yes, in that space of 3 years, the podcast has been growing more and more. And I think, I don't know, last time I looked, which was how many months ago? I can't remember, maybe half a year ago. There were about, I think it was 20,000 like regular listeners to this podcast, which is just crazy. So thank you all very much for tuning in to this podcast. And on the sort of like Patreon side of things, so in case you don't know, like Patreon is it's a site where you can support someone who's making something that you enjoy. How many do we have? I think it's just under 40 people, which isn't a terrible amount when you think, you know, there's 20,000 people listening. But, you know, thank you very much. Those just about 40 people who do contribute some money on Patreon. I mean, I've been thinking about Patreon lately, and what I would like to do is lower the prices. So what happens is you can pay a small amount of money every month, and then you can listen to all of these episodes without any advertisements in, which is great if you don't like advertisements. And then if you pay a bit more money, then you can you can read transcripts of the episodes. So, you know, you can read the text. Everything I'm saying, I will have to convert into text for you to be able to read. And that's like the sort of next level up. But yeah, like I've said, I want to drop the price down more. Patreon's a bit naughty because they want you to put the prices up. Because if you charge more money for, you know, like your membership levels, your membership tiers, then they get more money too. So I can't charge less than £1, by the way. I wanted to make the ad-free experience like less than £1, £1 English pound, which is like, what's that in dollars? I never know. It changes all the time, that's why. Let me just have a quick search. So 1 GBP, Great British pound, I don't know how you say that. That's $1.28 US dollars, I should say. So yeah, it's quite cheap. But I wanted to go cheaper. I wanted to go less than £1, and they won't let you. Like the minimum is £1. And not only that, if you don't charge like over £3, then they take even more money. So like if you were to sign up and you said like, okay, I'll sign up. I want ad free, and I'll pay like £1 a month. I don't get £1 a month. Like Patreon gets, how much is it? Quite a lot, actually. It's definitely over 10%. It might be like 15 or getting on for 20%. I can't remember. I think it might be around 10. But then you also have to pay this fee for getting paid. And it's complicated to explain. But anyway, yeah, you don't get that much in the end. And if you charge over £3, then you get a bit more. So they don't want you to charge, to charge less. It's a shame. But anyway, I will be changing all of the prices soon, and I'm thinking of maybe just having like one level you can subscribe to. Just instead, at the moment there's 3 levels, and I just think it's a bit confusing, and I don't know. I just thought it would be nice to charge less money. yeah, I'll do that moving forwards when I've got a bit of time to like restructure everything and reorganize that Patreon page. So do look out for that if you are currently a member, a subscriber. And if you're not, look out for it too, because, maybe you'd like to listen ad-free, or, read along with some of the podcast transcripts, so that you can look words up and learn new words and that kind of thing. Although, what I'd really like to do one day, but I don't know if I'll get enough time, one day I'd like to move away from Patreon and actually create my own website, which is not hard for me to do, because that's what I do every single day for my main job. I'm a software engineer, and I mostly focus on like web applications. But it's time. That's the trouble. It takes a long time to do it. But I've got some ideas which I think would be really nice. If I can ever do this, some ideas which would be really nice to implement. And it's just time though, isn't it? That's the trouble. We're always very busy. But I was just thinking the other day, there's like 20,000 listeners. If like every listener gave like £1 a month, that's more money than I would ever need. That's too much money. That'd be crazy. But like even like, I don't know what, like 10% of listeners, if they were like supporting the podcast, yeah, I'd probably just, don't tell my company, but maybe I'd quit my job and just focus on doing this like full time, which would be crazy. Because I wouldn't. Obviously, I'd record more episodes. That's natural. Like maybe I wouldn't want to go crazy, because the trouble is, I could say something crazy like I'll do 2 episodes every day, but then it becomes like a bit of it can become a burden for people. If you're subscribed to this podcast and you've got like two appearing every single day, then you have to take time out of your day to listen to them. So yeah, you can do too much, but maybe one every day at least. And what else? Oh yeah, and then I'd spend like my other time working on these new projects, like building software for learning English. I don't know why, but I've always wanted to do that. And sometimes I start it and I get so far with it and I think, this is going to take ages to finish, and I don't have the time. So I sort of like just leave it to one side. So I've got like a few projects now that I started, related to learning English. One was like a tool for learning vocabulary. The other one was like, it was like a sort of video player that focuses on transcripts, with like a tool for looking up words in dictionaries of many languages. But like I say, I just got so far, and I was building it and it was going well, and I thought, actually, realistically, if I'm going to finish this is going to take a long time, and I don't have that much time anymore. There was a time when I did, like when I used to do freelancing. So I did this job and I was a freelancer, and so sometimes I'd have like I'd be in the middle of a project, and then there'd be like a quiet time when in between projects. And I think if I was back then yeah, I probably would have enough time to just do it in my spare time, but not with a full-time job. It becomes very difficult to do extra things when you've got a full-time job. But I only need like 10% of all the listeners, like just paying a small contribution every month, and then I'll just work on it full time. So no problem. Who knows? That would be nice. That would be a dream. But realistically, I can't see that happening. That's a lot of people. That's never going to happen. But oh well, I don't know. We'll see what happens. You can never tell what the future holds. And I do want to use my skills, my ability to make software my ability to make like web applications, to build something of my own related to learning English. I think that'd be really nice. Just because it's nice to share information. You know, if you've got information about a subject, it's nice to be able to share that. And I don't know, I guess like my English ability is not too bad. I'm quite fluent in speaking English, but yeah, I don't know, I'm not a linguist. So, but even so, even though I'm not a linguist, even though I'm not like, you know, a master of English, I still think I've got things that are useful to share with people. I've still got information that's useful to share with people. Like this podcast. That's what I'm doing now. That's why I keep doing this podcast. Because my wife, she still listens to it, but really, I don't know if she really needs it anymore. Her English is getting better and better. And if you've been listening to the podcast long enough, you will know that the whole reason I started this in the first place was just to give her I can't speak. To give her a way of speaking. No, I can't think either. To give her a way of listening, you know, and getting used to my voice a bit more. So, like because we had a long distance relationship, couldn't talk to me all the time. Couldn't listen to my voice all the time. So I thought it'd be good. She could listen to it when she was, I don't know, traveling on the train or whatever, and like any bits she didn't understand, she could just repeat it a few times and like get used to sound of my voice more, get used to listening to English more. And her English has become really good in a very short amount of time. I would say in about a year, she went from not being able to speak. You know, we didn't talk in English at all, and initially it was just all in Japanese. And actually, most of our conversation recently seems to be in English because I'm a bit lazy. So yeah, that's how good she's become. And she's not really done anything other than listen to podcasts. 2 podcasts. One's mine, which is her favourite, of course, and the other one was Luke's English podcast. And that's it. That's it, really. Just those 2 things, and no like grammar study, no reading a book as well. She made her way through like a whole book, and that helped a lot. Like when you read your first book in another language, you know, you go all the way through it and you really like try and understand every part of it. That's a really big help, as I'm sure many of you will have done. But yeah, just that. So anyway, what was I saying? The reason I'm still continuing with this, because I don't really think my wife needs to listen to it that much anymore, especially now she has me living with her, is just to share some information, to share some things about England, and lately some things about Japan, and also just share some British English, because there's not a lot of it left, I'm sad to say. The more and more I keep listening to podcasts with British people, but those British people are more and more picking up like Americanisms, little tones, changes in tone of their voice, different words. Everything's super these days, super easy, super quick. It used to be very quick. Things used to be very easy, but everything's changing. But not me. I'm old-fashioned, even though I'm not that old. But I like the way my English used to be. I like the way my British English used to be before all these changes kept coming over from America and American TV series and whatnot. So I'm going to keep on to that. I'm going to keep holding on to that. And I don't know. If you want more American-style British English, this probably isn't the podcast for you. But if you like that kind of more traditional, old-fashioned British English without all of the Americanisms, this is the one for you. And that is the information that I'm sharing. The last dying, non-Americanized English, if that makes sense. I don't know. Hopefully it does. But yeah, there's not many people who... There's not that many people who talk like me in England anymore, which is sad. And if they do, they're all usually older than me. So yeah, I'm a bit of a rare example, I think. And certainly those younger than me, wow. Their British English does not sound British to me. Let me just say that. Anyway, this podcast has gone on 5 minutes too long. I do apologise. I got completely sidetracked in the last 5 minutes talking about my precious British English and how it's changing. Do forgive me. But I hope you've enjoyed listening to this podcast, and I look forward to talking to you in British English again soon. Until next time, bye-bye.